Joining me now, an old friend, Keith Kellogg, who is now a special envoy for Ukraine and former national security advisor to Vice President Pence. General Keith Kellogg, welcome back to the show, sir. We appreciate this very, very much.
Hey, Larry, thanks for having me. It's good to be with you again.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I know you can't say, or maybe you don't know with certainty, but here's what I know certainty. All the people attacking Trump after the Alaska meeting were just wrong. They were dead wrong, because look what's happened in the last 4 days. 4 days, Keith, which is really remarkable. Now, I'm not saying the deal's done. I'm not saying anything of the kind. But I'm saying look what's been set up. The agenda, the process, the invites, he and Putin coming in a nice suit. I never thought I'd see that. I mean, Zelensky coming in a nice suit of clothing. I mean, I think that's really quite remarkable. And I think you are off to a good start, General Keith Kellogg. What do you think? What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, first to the critics, I'd probably like to just say, oh, shut up and go sit in the corner. You know, the fact is, Larry, we're living in a really historic time. And when the book on this is written, and it will be written in 10, 15, 20 years, this will be so historic in what Donald J. Trump has done. It's just not he's ended 6 conflicts, you know, be it the Congo and Rwanda, or what's happened with Pakistan and India. But this is the largest war in Europe since World War II. It's massive with the amount of casualties, the amount of killing that's going on, and the amount of destruction. And he's brought it to a level that we are very close, I believe, to getting to this thing finished and done. And the only person who could have done that, Larry, when you look at it, is Donald J. Trump. As you said just a minute ago, that Biden never even talked to Trump. I'm sorry, but Biden never even talked. That's true, too. Biden really never talked to Putin in the entire time he was president. And look what, after Alaska, look what President Trump did. He brought together 7 international leaders from the EU to Germany and to France and to Italy and to Finland, and got them together, sat them down under a week, and put them together, and they started working together. That's something that wasn't done before. And I mean, the fact is, he's able to talk to people. He's able to work it. It's going to be really hard. He admits that. He knows that. But he's the right person to put it together to get it done. And I mean, what I saw yesterday in the White House, in the Oval Office, and in the East Room, when they all got together and working with President Zelensky, I said, this thing, we have a clear path to get this done. And what they're doing right now, like as we speak, they're looking at the security guarantees. What do they actually look like? And bringing a list of options under Secretary Rubio, a list of options they'll bring to the president and to the allied leaders as well, and say, look, this is what it looks like. Because if you bring in good security guarantees, this allows Zelensky some options as well in working with Putin so he can settle this conflict. And I think that we're on a path to do that. And it took bold leadership to do it. It's something that's going to be written around about in history, and we should be very, very proud of what President Trump has done. I mean, you can take the Nobel Peace Prize, put it on the side, because, frankly, that would be a nice thing to have, but what he has done is going to transcend that going forward. And I feel pretty good about it. And I think seeing what I saw yesterday, seeing what Steve Witkoff's doing with the Russians when they came out of Alaska, I think we should all feel pretty good about who we have as the 47th President of the United States. And he is truly, truly a man of peace. He hates war. He's shown that. He has demonstrated that. He talks about it, and he believes in it. And I think that's good for America to have.
Keith, you were in the thick of it yesterday. In fact, we have a great picture of you right across the table from President Zelensky. So I know you were in the thick of it. The Wall Street Journal this morning is reporting a task force. This may be what you're referring to. A task force led by Secretary of State Rubio, national security advisors, NATO officials to draft security assurances for Ukraine. This is the security guarantees. Military presence, air defense, armaments, and monitoring cessation of hostilities. And it's also being reported that there's a big NATO meeting of military ministers and officials coming up right away. Now, this is what I refer to. In only a few days, President Trump is moving at warp speed. But can you tell us about this task force? And I guess what I'm really asking is, will the security guarantees aspect come before the land swap aspect?
Yeah, Larry, first of all, there's a lot of discussions going on, and they are, in fact, meeting. It's under Secretary Rubio. The president tasked him to do it. I wouldn't use the word task force. You can use a lot of different words for it. but they're going to get together and present options. And that's what you do. You present options to the President of the United States and to the foreign leaders as well. And I would never say a word about what those options are going to be, because that's the president's call. He's the president. I'm not the president. He got the electoral college votes. I didn't. And that goes for the entire staff. And they're going to come up with options and present them to the president. And they'll give him a risk gradient, low risk to high risk, most impactful, less impactful. And then he'll get to, it's like a menu. And he'll pick from that menu. After, I am sure, he will talk to the allied leaders as well, because it's going to be a very cohesive path to get there. And it's going to include everything. I mean, when you come up with courses of action from the military and also the diplomatic, you can gradient it. In other words, it's some that are the most severe, and you go, that one's off the table, or some that are less. And that's what you're going to see.
But, Keith, I just wonder, and if you can't answer it, you can't answer it. I appreciate that. Does it make sense to develop the security guarantee options before you get into the land swapping options?
Absolutely. And Larry, the reason for that is
what I thought.
Because what you're having to do, you're leveraging, you got to provide leverage for Zelensky to say, okay, to go to his people and say, this is what we're getting out of the deal. This is the long-term efforts. So he's able to, for lack of a better term, sell it to his people and make sure that they understand it. And it gives us long-term benefits past President Trump, where it goes well into the future. But you've got to have something on the books. Right. To say, this is how you can go to negotiation, this is what it is. Now, that's going to be the hard part. And President Trump has said, and he said it again yesterday, that he's willing to go to the trilateral. And I know President Zelensky would love to have him there, because I think they're developing a really good and very close relationship as it goes forward. He already has a relationship with Putin. And he's going to be able to broker it and sell it at the end and close the deal. And I think they need to have that, because they have to have a basis to start from. And those security guarantees are going to be the basis, because they're not all going to be accepted. But if you give, you got to get. And I think there's going to be a give on both sides and get on both sides. But and that's going to be the hard part.
My last point is we're getting more statements, and I don't know, this may be bravado, but we're getting statements from Russia that they continue to oppose any international security force in Ukraine. So they're kind of spoiling the party right now. Now, to some extent, that's de rigueur for their position. It's like they never change it. But I just wondered, in the Trump camp, how seriously do you take that? And, what would happen if that were the case?
Yeah, well, you always, when you listen to this, you see where it comes from, who's actually making those comments. And I guess the general attitude is noted. Thank you very much for your interest in national security. And I think that's going to be the leaders of the nation, Zelensky, Putin, and President Trump, and then the allied support with us. And they'll make those calls out there. It's at noise level. They've got to say something. They're going to say something. And I would cut out that noise, just kind of put it on the side and say, okay, I expected you to say that. Thank you very much. But this is the path we're going to go. And those leaders will drive the solution. They're the ones who are going to do it, not the staff officers and not the people kind of giving comments from the side. But they're going to. Nobody's going to be happy with the entire development. They never are. In negotiations, that's not how it works. Some are going to be happy, some are not going to be so happy. You're going to get something, you're going to lose something. And I think you have to understand that. That's the way negotiations are. And if you have just a basic sense of history on what has happened in negotiations and treaties, I don't care if it's the Moscow Treaty with the end of the Winter War with Finland, or you get the treaty in World War II, or even go back to the Civil War and what happened at the end of the Civil War, our Civil War, you kind of see the give and take behind it. I've lived through a lot of these. I've seen it. I saw how long it took to get us the Paris Peace Accords with Kissinger on the end of the war in Vietnam. I kind of understand that. I know it. I can see the pitfalls you're going to run into. I can understand the pushback you're going to get. And one thing that is great about President Trump, he drives right through that like a truck. And that's the kind of leader you want to have.
General Keith Kellogg, terrific stuff, Special Envoy to Ukraine. Good luck. God bless. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it very, very much.